Welcome and good morning to our very first English team reading video. We thought we'd upload this video onto our website to help you support your child at home or children in reading and helping them to make progress when reading with them at home. So we'll be going through reading diaries, the books that will be coming home, looking at Bedford Vocabulary, just to give you the confidence really to, like I said, support your children at home. So firstly, sharing this picture is just so that everybody is under the understanding that reading is everything. It's not just about reading the words, so the children are building up their phonic knowledge, then their sight word knowledge to be able to read fluently. It's then reading for comprehension so that they are gaining knowledge from what they're reading. And actually that's the really exciting bit, that they are actually learning about what they're reading about, as well as reading for pleasure. So it's a if you like, a reading trident, and that sort of complements how we have now decided to change books in school to help children build fluency, knowledge, and reading for pleasure.
So reading at home in EYFS and reception and Key Stage 1, when the children start their reading journey at Warden Hill, they'll have their books for longer so that they can read them for three reads. And we're really lucky to have a new scheme, Collins Big Cat, and this will really help in terms of the letters and sounds that we'll be learning in class match the books that are being sent home. These books and reading for 3 times will help the children to develop their phonics, their vocabulary, as well as their fluency. And each time you read the book, there will be a different focus. So for the first read, this will focus on the children's decoding skills linked to the letters and sounds that the children are learning within their class, as well as the common exception words, and we also refer those to the tricky words. So you can see on the screen a page of the insert of the book as an example of what the children will be bringing home. And the pre-reading stage, so before reading, is vital in terms of the children recognising the sounds that they're going to come across in the book, as well as having a little look at and a go at practicing their segmenting and blending skills. And looking at certain vocabulary. So you'll see there we've got pat, tip, tap, asking the children what these words mean, can they sound them out? And there's also a little section about talking about it, looking at the front cover, what do you think the book's going to be about? Looking at kind of predicting in terms of further on in the story, asking questions, how do you know if it's about, I don't know, a garden, what's in the garden, how do we know it's about a garden, and those sorts of things to set the children up ready for their first read. The first read as well, some books also have some more trickier vocabulary, so don't be alarmed as the children kind of move through the different phonics phases. If there's some vocabulary there that might be a little bit more challenging, talk to the children about these words, look them up in the dictionary, have a look online, discuss their meaning. So when the children see these words within the text, they're already familiar with them and they have a good understanding of what they're reading, and they're also able to then kind of explain what they've read. That's really important. Moving on to the next read, the second read, which we're going to talk about now. So the first read, sorry, we've got the decoding, and that's letters and sounds focus. The second read focuses on the children's understanding, and having talked previously about vocabulary that's in the front of the book, that will really help, as I've mentioned, set them up for their second read. Either during the read or at the end, ask the children some questions. You could ask them about certain characters, how they're feeling and why they're feeling that way. You could also refer to the Vipers question stems, which should be in the front of your child's pink reading journal, and we will also be uploading them onto the school website as well for you to have a look at your leisure. Ask your child as well to retell the story. That's really important to display and illustrate their understanding. Get them to retell it, the events in the correct order. Ask them questions to get them repeating the order of the story, and encouraging them to talk about those characters as well. The third read, so this is where your child will feel like a real expert, and it's about enjoying sharing the story with fluency, exploring using expression. If they're unsure about the sorts of expression that they could use, you could model it first, and then your child could then repeat it back in a certain way. And it's also really nice, it's often nice to read to somebody different so that they can show off that, you know, brilliant reading skills, that they can read this story you know, fluently, and we want them to feel really proud of themselves and ultimately be a confident reader.
We want our children to love reading. We want our children to be able to go through these 3 stages, and then by that 3rd stage, they absolutely love reading and they want to share that book. And that's what's going to help them become confident readers. So with our book changes, particularly in Key Stage 1, with those 3 reads, it's not about rushing through, it's about spending time enjoying that book and really allowing your children to gain those really vital skills so that they love reading at the end of it.
So once your child is secure with all of their phonics, they will be moving on to longer books, and this is from Purple onwards. The idea is that when they are on the longer books, we're maybe not asking them to read the book 3 times, because hopefully by then they are fluent and they are much more confident as readers. But what we would still really like you to do, this is in Key Stage 1, is to spend time with your child, just read with them. About 15 minutes we think is a perfect time to spend with your child, to talk to them about their books, to listen to them read, to discuss what's happening, to discuss what they think might be happening next using their prediction skills, still going back to those 5 questions and spending time looking through the book and talking to them about the plot, the characters, and trying to build those comprehension skills. Again, it's another chance just to talk to them about the vocabulary. If there's words that they haven't come across before, maybe even words you think, oh, I think they know that, don't be afraid to still have a chat with them about it and just build their confidence with the vocabulary. It's so such an important part of reading is just talking to them about the words, and just enjoy time reading with your children.
Okay, moving on. We have called these books reading journals now. So the expectation is that they are taking ownership for these books. These books are for the children. The idea is that they are writing down the book title of the book that they are reading. And what you can see in the picture is initially, right from reception, they're just recording letters that they are familiar with. As you can see, this is right back in September and October. But you see, as the children go on, they are then writing the full title, which is lovely because it shows the progress of how far the children are coming in their writing. And it's a good opportunity for them to practice their writing at home as well. So it'd be really lovely that the children are recording the book titles in their reading journals.
And just to help with the TA here, the parent here has also recorded down the title so we can see the full title of what they've read, which obviously helps them, but it's just so lovely to see the children having a go.
This shows the dates that the children have read. So right back in reception, if we're going for those 3 reads, it's really important that the children are recording, well, as you can see, the adults recorded this, but it's a log for the teacher. So the teachers can see and the teaching assistants can see how many times that child has read that book. And you can see there's a tick underneath. Some of them say, right, yeah, that book can get changed now because that child's read it 3 times, in line with what's right at the very front of the reading journals with what is expected on each of those 3 reads. And the other side of the screen is a year 2 example, and you can see here that this child has actually recorded the book every time they've read it. We're not saying that we want that to happen, but we're just giving you the flexibility that if your child is a keen writer, then why not get them to write it out every single time? But again, in Key Stage 1, that's not the expectation. We'll go on to share with you Key Stage 2, but in Key Stage 1, the most important thing is that they're having a go at writing that title initially and then recording each date that they read that book.
So the other obviously really important part of reading is that reading for pleasure, and I'd actually say that this is the most important part of reading. And I just want to, obviously your children are being sent home with the Big Cat Collins books. I know some of them are also taking books on their class libraries to share, but that reading for pleasure, enjoying a book is just essential. We would encourage all of you to spend that time with your child, to read a story. You can read to them, they can read to you, you can read bits to each other. It could be a magazine, it could be a non-fiction book, it could be a longer chapter book that you're going to share gradually over the week. Each night you might read one chapter at bedtime. Show your children that reading is fun. Have a go at doing the voices together, you know, of different characters. How scary could we make Miss Trunchbull sound, for example? Dive into facts and learn them together. I don't think you realise quite how much this will benefit your children. So yeah, reading for pleasure is probably the biggest thing that we would like your support with. So moving on to reading in Key Stage 2, it is a little bit different. Obviously, if they're still working on their phonics, we will be supporting them with that. However, once they are secure with their phonics, our children will be reading books from our class libraries. The children are responsible for changing their books, which is really a bit of a change, and it's really important we try to help them, you know, become more independent with their learning. They're asked to read 4 times a week, and they are asked to record it in their pink reading journal. We have a huge amount of books in our class libraries, and this year we've been incredibly fortunate to get some money from the PTA to update our class libraries, and we've also brought a whole new range from Barrington Stoke, so that is a huge choice for the children in our classroom. If your child's not sure about what to read, the TA and the teacher are always there to discuss it with them and help them make those right choices. So when you're reading at home with your children at Key Stage 2, lots of the children read independently, which is fantastic, and that's always to be encouraged. As we said, they should be reading 4 times a week, and they should record each read in their reading journal. But we all still think it's still really important that you hear your children read, and suggestion there is twice a week. It will make such a difference to the children. Okay, listen to them read, share that story with them, ask them some of those Viper questions to talk it through with them, or you can completely turn it on a head and the children can ask you some questions, which they quite like doing, and they can test how well you've been listening whilst you've been sharing the story. So that's reading at home in Key Stage 2, and we're just going to talk now about the reading journals in Key Stage 2.
So, like we said earlier, a shift from the name from reading diary, which alludes to the fact that we are just writing a list of books, to allowing some more creativity to a reading journal. So on the left there, one of the teachers has got the children to write down all the ways that they can make their journals. What's the word I'm looking for?
Their own, I think.
Absolutely.
And I think it's their journal, and it's more. I think of it almost like a journey of reading, isn't it, as well? And
so you can see on the right hand side there, we've got little illustrations. We've got capital letters. You can see that the Outlaw of Arjak Paul. We've actually got the words written like the book cover. So it's just making it their own, making it personal, and actually allow them to do little jottings. Allow them to sort of pose questions to what they've read. A couple of the teachers will answer back. They will ask questions about what they're reading, and then the children then can have a response as well. And it's just really nice to see the engagement with what the children are reading. So
a few more examples.
It's the creativity that we're looking at. So you can see on the left hand side, so we've still got the date of how many times the children are reading, what that child is reading, and then clearly this child was enthralled by what they read. The Shark Caller is an absolute fabulous book.
So good.
We've both read it. And there's a little diagram there, and actually they were so inspired by what they read, they wanted to write a comment about it, which was noted by the teacher, and it's just fabulous that they are making the the journals their own. It's a shift from that language. We used to call them reading diaries. It's a shift in the language. And likewise on the right hand side, a completely different take as well, but just a little comment about what they read. Doesn't have to be, we're not expecting children to write anything. We're just allowing for that creativity because it's their book.
But the expectation is that all children will be writing the date, they'll be writing the title, and they'll be telling us how many pages that we've read, just so we can keep that record of what they're reading. And we just love to see what the children are reading. It's really interesting as teachers to look through. So the other part of our reading journal is we are setting a reading journal task in their reading journals, and they get this once a week. And we've changed this quite recently. This has changed, and we are trying a new way of doing it, and I think the children are really enjoying this. So now the children will be getting a task, and they will be given normally about a week to respond to it, and they can jot down ideas. And the idea is that we are sharing books with them that we think they might enjoy, and giving them then in class. They come back normally on a Thursday or a Friday, and they will talk through this book and what they will have answered the questions, and it's just hopefully to give them lots of ideas of different books that they can pick up and they might want to read. So just to show you a few examples of how the children are responding, because again, this is a reading journal, they can respond to these tasks how they want. So the first example, you can see they've just done bullet points of their questions, and they've even done a little picture there, which I think looks lovely, of the hot air balloon. Whereas the second child has stuck it in the sideways, and they've done sort of bubbles around it with different ideas that they've got. And then they come into class and they just talk about it and share, and hopefully, get that engagement and that love of reading as a class to share with their teacher.
And maybe hopefully pick the book up and read it themselves.
Yeah, and we're finding that, and sometimes we don't have enough copies of these books because so many children want to read them, which is just lovely to see. So yeah, right. So so the other part we wanted to talk to you a little bit about was, you've heard us talk about vocabulary and how important it is to talk with your children. But another way that we're supporting vocabulary is we have introduced Bedford Vocabulary. Now, we introduced this during lockdown, which did cause a couple of issues. So we have reviewed our uses of Bedrock, and you might find that your children have changed what block they're doing so that it really suits them, and they get access to as much vocabulary as is available to offer to them. So Bedford Vocabulary now is a homework, and we ask children to complete one of the lessons a week. Some children are really keen and are doing a few more, which is absolutely fine. It's very much there for them. If they're enjoying it, use it. It's such a fantastic resource, and I think the children are really enjoying this part of their homework. So the expectation is you have one a week, but as I said, if they want to do more, that they can. We are finding that the children, it's really helping them with their vocabulary, and actually what's even more lovely is when we see them then use it in their writing or when they're talking to us, and they're like, oh, I got that word from doing Bedrock. That's the idea. We want them to become really confident. We call it this level tier 2 vocabulary, which are words maybe that we don't normally use in our everyday language, but they are words that will be really valuable to help them in every part of our curriculum. And then just lastly, again, reading for pleasure. We just thought we'd share a few books with you. As you've already heard, we've both read The Shark Caller, and it's definitely one that we would recommend for year 5 and 6 mostly. Yeah. I think it's a fantastic book. I even recommend parents read it. I think it's that good, that one. The middle one is a non-fiction book. It's just a really fun non-fiction book with lots of silly lists, I think, that children will really enjoy. And then the You Choose one, sorry, I'm going to cough. The You Choose one is it's very much about pictures, and it's just really good for that discussion with children, which is lots of fun for the infants.
There's lots of places that you can go to look for inspiration for books, and the children know where to go. I mean, their teachers are a wealth of knowledge. We are all reader teachers. We love reading books. There's actually a book by Catherine Rundle, isn't there? Why You Should Read Children's Books.
Yes.
And actually it empowers us to be able to share the content with the children and appropriately suggest books for different ages. But libraries are a wealth of experience as well. Waterstones, you go into any of the staff, they will know the new literature that's about to hit the shelves, which age group, what the content is, a little bit about the book. So but as ever, we are here if you need suggestions or if you need places to go to for more support.
And we're also on our website where this video will appear, and we're also going to put some links for just options of text choices. There's some fabulous websites out there for parents, and we use it as teachers for ideas of books that we read, and so many of the books that you'll see us mentioning, you'll see in their reading journal, have come from these websites. So we will be putting those links on if you do want any other ideas of books that you might like to read with your children. And I think
yeah, we hope you found that helpful. You will have now a clearer understanding of what to expect when you see children's reading journals appear at home, and what the children have to do, as well as feeling confident yourselves in sort of challenging what's going on at home with reading, as well as how you can support. So
and I think the only other thing we want to say is thank you, because you don't know how much of a difference you are making to your children with their reading. As we said at the start, reading is everything. So yeah, thank you very much.